Hello and welcome to our continuous coverage of assembly elections in 4 states, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, West Bengal and Assam, and a union territory, Puducherry. Well, almost all the results are declared and the verdict is out. Now, BJP has taken Assam. It is Congress in Puducherry. Jayalalitha and Mamata Banerjee are going to be back as the chief ministers. And Kerala continues with this alteration of governments between LDF and the UDF. All this in details in the next half an hour with me, Aishwarya Kapoor. Let us begin with the headlines. BJP enters Northeast, wins Assam and make gains in all 5 assemblies. Amit Shah claims the party has advanced 2 more steps towards a Congress Mukt Bharat. Unprecedented wins for the 2 women chief ministers. Mamata Banerjee wins a landslide in West Bengal. Jayalalitha bucks trend by retaining Tamil Nadu. Disappointment for Congress. Party loses 2 states. Tarun Gogoi's 15-year run comes to an end in Assam. Oman Chandy defeated in Kerala. And mixed results for the left. CPM's move to back Congress fails to stop TMC in West Bengal. LDF records a huge win in Kerala. Well, the BJP was all set to create history in Assam by unseating the Congress in the state. Not only that, the party also improved its showing in all the states where votes were counted today. Amid a clear verdict for the 4 assemblies, only the tiny union territory of Puducherry seemed to be headed for a hung house, with the ruling AINRC and the Congress-DMK alliance locked in a close fight.
Gains in all 5 state assemblies and a debut government in Assam. On the national stage, the BJP was a clear winner all the way when the votes were counted on Thursday. The Congress, on the other hand, had a terrible day, losing 2 states where it was in par. But in each of the 4 individual states and union territory, Puducherry, it was a unique story for each of the regional players. In Assam, the BJP pulled off a coup by naming Sarbanand Sonowal as its chief ministerial face. The BJP and its allies surged ahead in over 76 seats to spell the end of the 3-term rule of the Congress-led Tarun Gogoi. In West Bengal, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee proved all her critics wrong, winning an unprecedented landslide victory of 216 seats. Her party had won 184 seats in 2011. The results also indicated that the electoral understanding between the left and the Congress was not accepted. In Tamil Nadu, another woman chief minister, Jayalalitha, bucked insurgency by winning for a 2nd term in a row. The 3-time chief minister will be the first person after MGR to be elected 2 terms in a row since 1984. In Puducherry, the Congress-DMK combined took a slim lead over the ruling AINRC. In Kerala, the LDF staged a comeback, taking winning leads in over 85 of the 140 constituencies. The ruling Congress-led United Democratic Front was ahead in just over 50 seats. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, my colleague Akhilesh Suman is now joining us from Chennai at the moment. Akhilesh, now Jayalalitha actually defeating incumbency. She's going to return as the chief minister of the state, and this is going to be first time in 3 decades that we'll see a Tamil Nadu chief minister being re-elected. What is the mood out there?
Yeah, actually mood is very, you know, that I went to Jayalalitha's house where Poet's Garden, and you can see the people were dancing, people were laughing, and people were shouting in favor of that lady who was here for power for last 5 years. And you know, the people say that there was anti-incumbency against both the parties. Against AIADMK, anti-incumbency for last 5 years. But it was also an anti-incumbency against the DMK government, which was 5 years before. And people will say you, if you ask them what is the reason that Jayalalitha has come, what is the reason that you voted for Jayalalitha, they will tell that yes, Amma has given us so many things in last 5 years, and we hope that we will get much more things in last 5 years. If you ask that what is the other contribution of Amma, she will tell that there was no social tension in Tamil Nadu for last 5 years. But when they remember the DMK government, they will tell that there was a rule of a strong man at various places in the state. So you can understand that people have not forgotten what had happened in the DMK rule past 5 years before. And that is why Jayalalitha has gained in the state and DMK has got actually, in a way, it is respectable defeat.
All right,
Yes,
Akhilesh,
Valia.
you stay with us. We'll just come back to you. We'll speak to you about how the actually Jayalalitha has defied exit polls. Meanwhile, Tamil Nadu saw the Jayalalitha-led AIADMK bucking tradition to retain power for a second term. The state had not returned a ruling party to power since the 1980s. But for the opposition, DMK Congress combined, it was a complete washout. It put up a reasonably good show, leading in over 100 seats as against ADMK's 125 in a house of 234. Barely an hour after counting of votes started on Thursday, it became clear that Chief Minister Jayalalitha's decision to go solo had paid off.
I have no other interest in life except working for the people of Tamil Nadu. My life is dedicated to the people of Tamil Nadu. I thank the people of Tamil Nadu for continuing to repose their faith and trust in me, and I find that there are not enough words in the dictionary to adequately express my feelings of gratitude towards the people of the state. Therefore, I intend to show my gratitude in the form of the actions I will take after forming the government again. I will strive to fulfill all the promises we have made to the people in our election manifesto.
The full extent of it was revealed by noon. Jayalalitha became the first chief minister after MGR to retain power in the state for more than one term. The third front, led by DMDK's captain Vijay Kant, could not make inroads anywhere.
Finally, we are moving fast towards an India which does not have the footprints of the Congress almost anywhere in the country. The Tamil Nadu vote demonstrates that the Congress and the DMK alliance, which became the symbol of corruption in the UPA regime in the centre, has been again rejected by the people.
The actor-turned-politician who campaigned with the tag of game changer was hard-pressed to even hold his own seat. Although it was the first time that Tamil Nadu saw six-cornered contests, the main battle in the end turned out to be only between the AIADMK and the DMK combined. The so-called formidable third front could manage only a single-figure tally.
Exit polls did predict a DMK victory. That became the curse for DMK, because since all the exit polls predicted DMK is going to win, this forced the ruling government to spend more money. In fact, you have seen that 570 crores was caught, and without any documents. I have never heard anywhere in India that a bank transfers 570 crores in 3 trucks without any police bandobast or without any security personnel and without proper documents. See, these are questions which are raised.
The AIADMK alliance won an absolute majority in 2011, sweeping to power with 203 seats out of 234. The DMK alliance, that included DMK, Congress and other regional parties, could muster just 31. This time, the DMK combined can take heart in having crossed the 100 mark while keeping the AIADMK close to a simple majority figure.
Ask any supporter of Jayalalitha in Tamil Nadu, they will tell that Amma is going to increase the number of freebies that she has been given for last 5 years. They also tell that there has been no social tension in last 5 years. But it is also a good news for DMK that their seats have increased and leadership of Stalin has been established. Akhilesh Soman for Raj Sabha Television with camera person Om Prakash in Chennai.
In fact, my colleague Akhilesh Suman is with us at the moment. Also joins us is Vishal Daya joining us from Thiruvananthapuram. Also we have with us our reporter Panchanan joining us from Guwahati. Let's come back to Akhilesh again. Akhilesh, now we were just saying that how Jayalalitha is actually defied exit polls. Two of the exit polls had said that probably DMK is going to come to power, but Jayalalitha has actually defied those exit polls. So, do you think that the DMK Congress basically continues to suffer from the consequences of the 2G spectrum scam?
No, naturally, Aswarya, this is one of the major blots that has been marring the whole fortune of DMK for last 5 years. And also, it is not only this corruption. This is also an issue that you remember the Mulayam Singh Yadav's government. People say that when he comes to power, his workers rule the roost in many of the districts. When Lalu Prasad comes to power, his workers start ruling the roost in the state. So it is that type of comparison people make of DMK rule in Tamil Nadu, and they will tell that if DMK comes to power again, we will again go to 5 years before rule when the DMK workers were ruling in the blocks, in the panchayats, in the districts. And also there was a tough war between DMK sons. Alagiri and Stalin were fighting against each other in their strongholds for their own fiefdom. So these are the things that people were thinking that Jayalalitha's rule will be a no-nuisance rule, and okay, Jayalalitha has shown some democracy deficit, like access to press to Jayalalitha's regime is very limited.
Absolutely,
press doesn't have access to everyone.
Absolutely,
if you come with a camera at many places, people will see that police will say, yeah. So these are the situations, but still people feel that Jayalalitha's rule is in a way rule that nobody is afraid of. And she has so many things to give to us, especially the poor people, and
especially the freebies. Akhilesh, you stay with us. We'll just come back to you. Let's go across to my colleague Vishal Doya, who's joining us from Kerala. Vishal, now so far what we have seen is Kerala voting for alternative government, and obviously the tradition is continuing this time as well. What more can you tell us?
Well, if you look at the political trend and the trend of the electoral politics in Kerala, then I must say that the voters of Kerala have voted in a very predictable way, and the state has not bucked the trend this time around as well. It's after 5 years of UDF, now it's the turn of the LDF to stay in power for the next 5 years. And this is something which has been happening in the state of Kerala for quite a number of assembly elections now. But one thing which is very peculiar out here is that just like the previous term when the LDF won the elections in 2006, this time around as well, the difference between the LDF and UDF is quite large.
Absolutely.
The UDF is nowhere near the that majority mark, whereas in 2011 elections we saw the difference between the LDF and UDF was just a few seats. A clear indication that Congress will have a lot of food for thought on its hand. Congress will have to try and look at as to what has gone wrong in the state of Kerala. They were quite confident before the elections, before the voting took place during the campaign as well. But then let's not forget several issues which seems to have gone against the UDF. One of them was corruption allegations, obviously, were against some of the ministers of the UDF cabinet out here. And that is something which seems to have been cashed in on by the LDF the leadership to a large extent. Apart from that, the unity which we saw between several factions of the LDF, that is the one led by V.S. Achyutanandan and the other led by Pinarayi Vijayan specifically, they seem to have put up a united front in these elections. That is something which seems to have paid off for the LDF, and that is why a resounding victory for their alliance. And tomorrow, we are being told by the left leaders in the state that tomorrow there will be a meeting of the state committee, and a final decision will be taken as to who will lead the cabinet in the state and who will become the chief minister.
Absolutely. You're talking about the unity within the LDF camp, but whether that unity is going to be retained tomorrow, because we will have a declaration on who is going to be the chief ministerial candidate, that we have to wait and watch. Well, a CPM-led Left Democratic Front, or the LDF, staged a comeback in Kerala. It wrested power from the ruling Congress-led UDF. Now, V.S. Achyutanandan, who's a 90-plus veteran of the CPM, who's also the alliance prospective chief ministerial candidate, said that the election showed a wave in favour of the LDF. Meanwhile, the BJP made its debut in the state by winning one seat in Nemom, which is a suburb of the state capital, Thiruvananthapuram.
History repeating itself in Kerala, a state which religiously dumps the ruling party in every election. The CPM-led LDF set to form the next government in the state. In the 140-member Kerala Assembly, LDF winning over two-thirds seats to wrest power from the ruling UDF. While the LDF made a virtual sweep in the strongholds of CPI-M and CPI, Kannur, Thrissur, Alappuzha and Kollam districts, it also managed to make inroads into UDF strongholds of Ernakulam and Malappuram.
LDF has won a big victory in Kerala, and the people have reposed confidence in the LDF because they didn't want the continuation of the corrupt and anti-people rule of the Woman Chandy government. And with this mandate, the LDF can now form a government and start a new chapter in Kerala.
Outgoing Chief Minister Woman Chandy took the responsibility for the UDF's defeat. The defeat proving to be the outcome of a series of corruption scandals involving some of his top aides and ministers. Although Chandy scored a victory in his hometown of Puducherry, senior ministers like K. Babu, Shibu Baby John and K. Mohanan tasted defeats.
വിജയം എല്ലാം നേട്ടമാണ് പരാജയം മുഴുവൻ പരാജയവുമാണ് ജനാധിപത്യത്തിൽ അതിന് ന്യായീകരണം ഉണ്ടാവില്ല.
We were trying to make history. We were trying in many ways to actually upset the pattern whereby for the last 4.5 decades no government in Kerala has been re-elected. The voters have always wanted to see a change after one term. We wanted to change that, and we thought we had the development record of performance on the ground to earn that right. But unfortunately, clearly it wasn't good enough, and now the time has come to think of the future. We will be a constructive opposition. I'm very encouraged by the fact of the number of young people who have won their seats in the UDF.
The LDF's win shifted the focus to the question of who will be the state's chief minister. Both 92-year-old V.S. Achyutanandan and party heavyweight Pinarayi Vijayan are keen to take on the mantle, putting CPM's central leadership in a tough spot. However, Achyutanandan said the party will decide the issue. While Achyutanandan won from Malambura in Palakkad district, Pinarayi Vijayan won from Dharmadam in Kannur. Meanwhile, the BJP created history winning Nemam. Its ally, the BJDS, however, couldn't produce a single win. The voter turnout in Kerala was a tad higher at 77.35% as compared to 75.12% in the previous elections. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to results from West Bengal, where a ruling Trinamool Congress headed by Mamata Banerjee put up an impressive show in the state. Not only did it better its tally over the last elections, the party ensured that the unprecedented Left Congress alliance experiment was not able to make any impact in the state.
Right from the word go on counting day, it was Didi all the way in West Bengal. From a tally of 184 seats in 2011, Mamata Banerjee's party leapfrogged to a whopping 200 plus constituencies.
আর এবারে সমস্ত বিরোধী শক্তি এক হয়ে যাওয়া সত্ত্বেও অনেক রকম জোট তৈরি করেছে। যাই হোক, আমি আগে মিটিংয়ে বলেছি, আজকে নতুন করে বলার অপেক্ষা রাখেন। নানা রকম ঘটনা ঘটেছে, তা সত্ত্বেও মানুষ নির্ভীকভাবে নিরপেক্ষভাবে নিজেদের ভোট প্রদান করেছে।
The TMC's complete domination was evident even in seats like Karamhati, where arrested Sharda chitfund scam accused TMC MLA Madan Mitra fought the polls from behind bars.
I think it is the people. Development matters. Instead of all this debt we pay, 1,40,000 crores. What development we achieved within these 4 years, it is marvelous. It is really fabulous. And I think the people who knows the work, they know how the Bengal growth.
Significantly enough, the BJP gained leads in as many as 10 seats at stage of the counting. All the exit polls had given the Trinamool Congress a clear majority. But the alliance between the Left Front and Congress was hoped to make at least a dent, which however was not to be.
We expect hope to improve our position any. अभी नहीं result आने दीजिए फिर कुछ कहेंगे.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi was among the first to congratulate Mamta on phone as her party emerged winner. In the build-up to the elections, the Trinamool was mired in allegations of corruption. But with the party winning an even bigger majority than even 2012, Mamta says her party has washed off the slur against it. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to news from Assam, the state voted for change to end the 15-year rule of the Congress led by Tarun Gogoi. The BJP that had 5 seats in the last elections emerged the largest party, with their allies AGP and Bodo People's Front swelling the tally further. The Congress, which had bagged 78 seats in the last elections, was struggling by leading only in 27 seats. The AIUDF, led by Badruddin Ajmal, was leading in over 10 seats.
The BJP's prayers answered in Assam, the party making inroads for the first time into a northeast state. BJP candidate Sarbanand Sonowal set to become chief minister.
We are all sincerely grateful to the people of Assam. It is the people of Assam who have brought these particular changes and have given an opportunity to BJP and allies partners to work for the overall growth of the state and also to take up the long-standing problem of the state of Assam.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulating Sonowal, terming the win exceptional, historic and phenomenal. The BJP's decision to ally with the AGP paying dividends. The Congress, on the other hand, suffering another electoral setback with the end of the 15-year rule of Tarun Gogoi.
Congress party, bereft of victories or losses, will continue to champion the cause of the poor, the downtrodden, the farmer, the farm labourer and the youth. And we will continue to fight against any policies of central or state governments under the leadership of Sonia ji and Rahul ji, which policies are anti-people, anti-development or are divisive in nature.
Tarun Gogoi, who has ruled out earlier of any possibility of forming a secular third front to keep the BJP at bay, was confident he will return to power for a 4th term. After the results, Gogoi is saying his party will play the role of a constructive opposition.
Definitely, with all humbleness, we accept the verdict of the people of Assam. People of Assam, they desire that this time administration or the government, BJP on all alliance, they should rule the states. And the people are also expecting. People wanted a lot of changes for development, better days, acha din.
Another big setback was AIUDF leader Badruddin Ajmal, who has lost by a margin of over 20,000 votes to his Congress opponent from South Salmara seat. Ajmal has blamed the Congress for a split in what he says is the secular vote.
असम में सबसे पहले कोशिश ये हुई कांग्रेस, यूडीएफ, बीपीएफ, एजीपी मिलकर एक महागठबंधन हो जाए, लेकिन इसको कांग्रेस वालों ने बिल्कुल नहीं माना और असम के कांग्रेस ने, खास करके चीफ मिनिस्टर साहब ने और असम कांग्रेस के प्रेसिडेंट ने अंजन दत्त साहब ने इसको नहीं माना और उस न मानने की वजह से जिसका हमारा ये डाउट है कि 100%, और मैंने इलेक्शन में बार-बार कहा, डेली कहा कि कांग्रेस के अंदर बीजेपी आरएसएस के लोग बैठे हुए हैं और वो आरएसएस के लोग बीजेपी को जिताना चाहते हैं.
The task for the NDA, however, is cut out. The BJP has promised a crackdown on illegal migrants and sealing of the Indo-Bangladesh border. With the voters tilting towards the alliance, the victory comes wrapped in a long list of expectations.
BJP has given credit to PM Modi and party president Amit Shah for this historic Assam win. But this is also true that this time BJP has learnt a lot from the Bihar and Delhi Assembly elections. That's why it gave more importance to local leadership in this Assam election. In Guwahati, with cameraman Muniz Bhalla, this is Panchanan Mishra for Rajya Sabha TV.
In fact, my colleague Panchanan is now joining us live from Guwahati. Panchanan, now BJP with its allies winning a whopping 87 of the Assam's 126 seats, of obviously fierce victory powered by good partnerships and also decision to protect local leaders, as you just mentioned.
Yeah, sure. The Assembly elections result, it goes with the prediction of exit polls. And we have seen that the massive vote has been casted in favor of BJP alliance. It's the alliance in favor of BJP. And this is why we just heard the version of Badruddin Ajmal that he said that Congress, if there was an alliance with Congress, then it will be better for him. So then you can see that this was the strategy of BJP, which ultimately comes into effect, and BJP got the huge mandate, while its partner Assam Gad Parishad also did well. That's why the BJP is dedicating this win to central leadership, Narendra Modi and Amit Shah, and also to local leadership, Sarbanand Sonowal. BJP very cleverly, very strategically has nominated its chief ministerial candidate, and then got the effect of it.
Absolutely.
That's why in Assam there is it's a jubilant atmosphere here. It's like a festival, and it's the first time that a full-fledged government is going to be formed in Assam.
Absolutely.
Yes,
big victory there for the BJP. Thank you, Panchanan, for joining us and giving us all those updates there. So it's a big victory for the BJP. And obviously, the master strategist, BJP President Amit Shah, has now said that all 5 states have accepted BJP. Whether or not that has happened, that is up to you to judge. Well, we leave you with this bite of BJP President Amit Shah. Thank you so much for watching.
पांचों राज्यों की जनता ने भारतीय जनता पार्टी को एक तरीके से स्वीकृति दी है। ये पांचों राज्यों के परिणाम के बाद केरल से लेकर कश्मीर तक और कच्छ से लेकर कामरूप तक पूरे देश के अंदर भारतीय जनता पार्टी की नींव मजबूत करने का काम मैं मानता हूं कि हमारे कार्यकर्ताओं ने बहुत अच्छी तरह से किया है। मैं पांचों राज्यों की जनता का भारतीय जनता पार्टी की ओर से बहुत बहुत आभार मानता हूं।